My name is Mike, and this is a special edition of Mike's Hot Seat. Today's topic is the State of the Union address offered by the Pretender-in-Chief, Barack Hussein Obama. And right off the bat, folks, if you didn't watch it, it was as if he just dusted off the 2009 State of the Union address and just repeated the same old crap. Throughout his speech, he never offered the how or the when, unless, of course, it was in the sometime distant future, which isn't going to help any of us today. He starts off with, the economy is growing because the stock market is up. Well, if anyone has any indication of what the stock market really is, you would know that that's a lie. The stock market is merely a playground for the rich to get richer. The average American is lucky if he gets a crumb. So, the stock market is not an indicator of economic growth. The true indicators are job growth, lower unemployment, and consumer confidence. Without those, the economy is not growing. He says that in December, 1 million jobs were created. Really? Why is unemployment still well over 9% at current 9.4, which we know is a lot more than that? He talks about China and India being superior in math and science. Well, we know this to be true because the children of China and India are more disciplined than American children. You go into any Chinese restaurant and you see the young kids at the cash register, not sitting home watching E! Channel, Jersey Shore, and all that other vile crap. He says that America is the most prosperous nation. Really? Say that when Brazil has record employment, while we have record unemployment. So who is prosperous? American salaries have been stagnant versus cost of living for 20 years, but we're prosperous. He says that we have the best colleges in the world. I say we don't. Our colleges instill liberal, socialist propaganda on young people, which is why they think that they're entitled to things. You're entitled to squat. You're entitled to what's in your wallet. You're entitled to what the Constitution says you're entitled to. Now we have race to the top instead of no child left behind. It's the same rhetorical bullcrap. And until parents and teachers have the power to discipline, there will be no race to the top. Children will be left behind, and China and India will continue to excel past us. He says we need 100,000 more teachers to cover math and sciences. Show me the money. He doesn't say how we're going to get these teachers, how we're going to fund it. It's all rhetorical nonsense. He says the government must be reformed. Doesn't offer how. And again, just like in 2009, just like in 2010, green jobs, solar and electrical cars. Nonsense. He hasn't created one green job. Planet protection. We've proven global warming is a fallacy. By 2035, 80% of our energy should be clean. That'll never happen. While all the companies fund elections, you can forget it. He says we're going to be serious on illegal immigration. Doesn't offer how. Infrastructure used to be the best. Now he wants to compare us to Korea. Korea has better internet bandwidth. Well, that's ridiculous. You can't compare the size of the countries. Besides, what do more Americans need internet for? To watch more porn? Because that's all they use it for. He wants to freeze domestic spending. And part of that, folks, is to cut Medicaid and Medicare. Again, let's screw senior citizens. He doesn't say cut foreign aid. Of course not. And again, this ridiculous railroad system. Did this jerk off never own a Lionel train set when he was in Kenya learning fundamental Islam? Again with the railroads. But he doesn't say, let's help the collapsing housing industry. This guy is in love with trains. Folks, we've had nothing but job loss. We've had nothing but government regulations and government expansion, which is bad for us. The Republican response, again, rhetorical. Bashes Obamacare, says we need to reduce government, we need to reduce spending. Doesn't say how, why, or when. Paul Rand offered nothing. The Tea Party response by Michelle Bachmann, I have to say, folks, they call them crazy, but these people are on the ball. They say how government grew, 2 million jobs have been lost. In 2008, unemployment was 6.6. It's now 9.4. Ms. Bachmann says, end cap and trade policies, end 132 regulatory policies, which is crippling American job growth. She also says that now 16,500 IRS agents are going to govern Obamacare, but 202 corporations and unions are exempt. And I'm sure most of those are the ones that funded Obama's election. Reducing tax and regulatory burden on job creators and America will have the highest corporate tax in the world. This is why jobs are moving overseas. Well, now, folks, here is this conservative's response to the State of the Union. Number one, you want to fix the economy? You won't do that without job growth. You need to give corporations incentives. You give them a tax holiday on the fact that you bring American jobs back home. You remove them from the foreign entities that you gave them to, and you bring them back. You don't impose more corporate rules and regulations. You have to release them. Free enterprise should be free enterprise. The only time the government should get involved is if corporations invoke policies and rules that inhibit the American worker from reaching life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You want to get serious on Border Patrol? You got to do two things. Invoke the National Guard on the border states and adopt a federal law that mirrors Arizona's SB 1070. Illegal immigration has not just hit the border states. This affects every state in the union. You want to improve education? Great. You end free foreign grants and you give that money to American college kids. That's what you have to do. Folks, our number one problem is the economy. Forget railroads and bridges. We have to fix the housing industry. How do you do that? End regulations. Free up loans. And you make loans that are smart. Loans should be based on a person's or couple's income and assets that they own. not on some fly-by-night scheme to give lower-income people the pie in the sky so you get their votes and then they're kicked out of their homes. Both parties offer nothing but rhetoric. This is why we need to vote third party. Send your questions and concerns to indyconservative@hotmail.com. My name is Mike, and this is The Hot Seat.